This is All About the Song. Welcome to the 127th episode of All About the Song. I am your host, Michael McDonnell. This is a special episode. It's the second of this week. We have Kadeema. We are performing this Friday at the Horseshoe Tavern on Facebook Live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll let you know the best way to get the information is to check out Kadeema on their socials, in their link tree. The links are there. But gentlemen, welcome to the podcast. How excited are you to play a live show?
Live show coming up.
Very excited.
Well, it's got to be good. We started playing together as a live band about this time last year in Change. Obviously, this has been a very different year than what we originally expected. Not to dwell on what COVID's been like or what we've all gone through during this time. Let's focus on the positives. How excited are you all to hit the stage, play at the Horseshoe? Let's start with Chad. How does it feel to get back out there and play live?
I am beyond excited. It's, I've just been itching to do this, just since we heard about the stream, the potential that we were going to be playing the stream. And it was really good that we were finally able to get together and jam again as a full band. It's something I've missed. We did the show last year at the Dakota, and obviously the universe had different plans for everybody. And so it had been quite some time, quite some time before we could all jam together. So I'm happy to be back with you guys in a room.
Now, Tal and Jimmy, you guys did, I guess it was a while ago that you did the live stream in the surf shop, but it was in
November.
That was in November. Okay, so that's been about 5 months. So I guess coming back, playing live, playing full sound on a stage, has this been the longest that you two have gone in your professional musician lives without playing a live show?
Yeah, no, we did. Yeah, no, it is. Right?
I think we came close. We came close to no, it's never been a year. It was like 6 or 7 months, I think.
6 to 8 months-ish.
Yeah. Never like a full year.
Well, it's been too long for all of us, and I think that we've all recognized an itch inside ourselves that we didn't realize was so prominent. I think we've all been like, wow, it's been a month since I've played a show. We got to get out there. But this is a longer time than I think anyone ever wanted to do in this project. But it's got me thinking about the experiences and being grateful to get the opportunity to do it, to kind of go through some, maybe walk down memory lane and discuss some of our favorite shows that we've been to. So Tal, I wanted to ask you, and it doesn't have to be your number one with a bullet all-time favorite show, but when you think about an experience you've had at a live event, what was it for you?
There have been so many, but one that's fresh in my memory is seeing Rival Sons. I believe 2 years ago, they played the band show at the whatchamacallit?
CNE.
CNE. There you go. It's been a long day. Sorry. So I have been wanting to catch Rival Sons for years, and every time they came into town, something happened. Once I even had tickets. I bought 2 tickets to see them at the Phoenix, and I gave them to a buddy because Jamie and I had to drive to Buffalo to catch a flight to Nashville that night. So they've just been escaping me for the longest time. And then finally, after all this time, they came and played the CNE, which instead of, paying to see them in a big, expensive situation, it was I think it was $16 or something. It was a ridiculously cheap price. And it was one of my favorite shows I've ever seen. It wasn't like the fanciest show by any stretch of the imagination. There was like very minimal lighting, very minimal, production. It's just the band on stage at the band shell in the summer. It was stinking hot. I think there were like lots of mosquitoes because you're right by the water, and all the bad things you can expect the band to encounter in a summer show outdoors. But they played as if they were in like Wembley, and it was unreal. It was worth the wait. It was one of my favorite shows I've ever seen ever, and that's like, it's fresh in my memory. It's one of those bands you can go and see just to focus on each member of the band. And even if I looked at just the drummer or just the guitar player or just listened to the singer the entire show, it would be enough. Like, it would be so satisfying. But then together they're something else. If you never got to see Rival Sons live, do it the first opportunity you get, because it's unreal.
Jimmy, same question.
Okay, so like best just like live experiences that we've witnessed.
Yeah, one of those, the moment when time stands still and you're just like, oh man, this is just the best.
Tal, where did we just see Shikari?
The last time?
Yeah. Was it Mod Club? Like 3 years back?
Like not when we saw them at the Hard Luck. We saw them after.
Yeah. The one with the amazing lighting. And it was just like, we were on such a high from it after.
Yeah, it was Mod Club.
There was that moment, we were going through a lot of stuff at the time, and I can't even remember an ode to a jigsaw piece or something. It was something, one of the songs off of The Spark, which was their second last album. And there's this whole like, when you're down on your luck, you're down, you're not out sort of vibe. And it was said you're down on your luck, you're down, but it don't mean you're out. And they had this moment where it all kind of like everything quieted down, and then the lights were just this blue, and like he sang it with such just conviction in his voice, and it's just him and like whatever synth I think he was using at the time. And it was one of those like teary-eyed moments that you're just watching and you're just like, I am down on my luck right now, but thank you, we're not out. And it's like, it's one of those that like, it was so captivating that like, I don't know, I just sat there and was just like, and I think like, yeah, just one of those moments that it hits you at exactly the right time. And it kind of just makes you go, thank you. That felt lovely. Like I needed that release sort of thing, because it just builds and builds and builds. But it's just that slow motion moment of a song where it just hits you right in the chest very hard.
Yeah.
That for me.
I remember that show. It was the same show, Jimmy, where this band Enter Shikari, like the song they got famous with was called Saw You're Not a Winner. And we saw them, I think, maybe 3 or 4 times before, and they would never play that song. And I was like, I just want to hear it live once. I just want to hear that song that made me like you in the first place. Please, like once. Time. And they would just not play it. And what Jimmy didn't tell me is Jimmy's been following the tour. So he knew the set list. He knew what was going on. And they did like a medley. And then they started the medley, and he knew it was coming. And then he looked at me like when it was happening, he was like, you ready for this? I was like, ready for what? And then I hear the intro riff and I was like, oh my God. And then, yeah, they played it. And I was like, oh, they made my year.
Yeah, there's nothing better than hearing those notes happening. It's just in your head, it's like it clicks.
Yeah.
So distinctive as well, too, that riff. And then the claps. It's just like, okay, this is happening.
I lost my mind like a 16-year-old boy.
And isn't that the best feeling? Like that just like that giddy, you can't stop smiling feeling.
Yeah. You walk with your chest stuck out a bit more and your shoulders back and confident and excited.
And Chad, favorite memory for you from a show?
Ooh, oh my goodness. There's tons, obviously, but I mean, there's a few that I feel kind of are set apart. If I had to pick one though, I think it would be LCD Sound System at Way Home 2016. So they were one of those artists that I had no clue, like no clue about whatsoever. I believe it was their reunion that was the year they came back because they were on a long hiatus, and so 2016 they came back. They were headlining all these festivals, and one of my buddies who had who was going to Way Home with us. He was a very big fan of LCD Sound System, and I only knew like two songs. Like I knew like Someone Great and Daft Punk Is Playing at My House, right? Like, those two songs. And I just didn't get it. Like, listening to the albums, I really didn't understand. I'm like, okay, this is fine. Like I dig it enough. Like it's good, like driving background music or something. But man, when I saw them, only knowing those two songs and off the top of my head, and just seeing this stage of 8, 9, I don't know, however many people were on stage, all with a crazy amount of analog synthesizers. I was just like blown away by what the setup, like what that entails, setting up the show like that. And, just one thing led to another, and, I ended up at their set, and it was nuts. Like, the show that they put on, like it made me understand what they were all about. And it was just this big sense of like, but also like this sense of like euphoria, and this is where I'm supposed to be right now. Watching these like crazy talented musicians perform stuff with synths that I didn't think would be possible in a live setting. Like it was definitely something special, and now they're one of my favorite bands of all time. So
yeah, and there's this really cool documentary. I don't know if it's new on YouTube, but I found it recently. I'll send it to you afterwards, and I'll put it in the description for this episode because that's so misleading to just say a random documentary name. But yeah,
right.
LCD System is a cool band, and I think similar to this group, it is nice to be able to see all of the instruments, doing their thing to create the sound.
What was yours, Mike?
I'm gonna go. Okay. I went to the Reeperbahn Music Festival in Hamburg, and I saw that July Talk were performing, who were from Toronto. I was at the festival for 5 days, and I think I saw only Canadian bands for the most part. At one point, we had to like venture out. Like we would start to see a band like The No from France and some other groups from Switzerland and stuff. But July Talk played this dingy club, and it was like, your glass of beer was sticky, and it was a hot room, and they had just released one of their albums that day. So we had seen it. It was already weird and surreal to see a Canadian act's album in the window shop of a German music store. And I went to see the show, and I went with the band I was playing in, and it was amazing to see the German audience all sing the lyrics in English. And I had been hanging around long enough to know that most of these people were primarily, not with the festival. They were German. This wasn't a bunch of Ontario kids that were in Germany going to see a band they knew. And it was amazing because sometimes you forget you have a hometown, you play in a hometown, but when music, and we were talking about this the other day with a Kadeema song being played in, I forget the name of the TV show in Belgium, but sometimes you forget that music can be listened to in other parts of the world. And when it relates, it was this realization that music's more than just what you think of it when you're playing it at home.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Absolutely.
Well, where is that song? It was a Kadeema song. It was played in Antwerp, Belgium, on a TV show. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's a TV show called The Mole. It's like a game show, and I guess like one person in the game show is like a mole, like he's like a transplant almost, and they have to find out who it is. And it's just somebody reached out through Instagram, I think, or something, and said like, "Hey, I'm, the music supervisor for this show from Belgium. Is it cool if you use Good Lies?"
Immediately, we were like shifty-eyed, like this guy's going to try and steal our stuff. What is he doing? And
What's the catch, eh?
Yeah. What do you want from us, kidney? What is
But yeah, and then if you actually go to the video for Good Lies, one of the comments on YouTube is everybody here? Is everybody else here because of the mole?
Oh,
that was
so
my
awesome.
like favorite like made it moment. I was like, oh, we did it, because you see that on so many things where it's just like a Bright Eyes song or something, and it's just like, oh, who's here because of this drama? And it's like, oh,
and it's amazing in the sense of you never know where, as I said previously, you never know where things are going to go and where things are going to travel and how things are going to work, and the perspective of what can happen with, writing a song and putting it out. And
crazy.
It's pretty wild. I like that. That's what I enjoyed about Germany with the July talk. With going around rapid fire and to promote the fact that we're going to be doing a live show on Friday. I also, as we talked about shows that we've been at, I also want to ask for a specific moment performing live. It could be recent, it could be from any point, basically. A moment that you've been on stage where it all clicked, that you were in the perfect place at the perfect time, and this is exactly what you're to be doing with your life. Tal Vaisman, when was that moment for you?
I don't know. I mean, every show is so different. I know anything I'm going to say from this moment on is just going to be one cliche after the next. So please forgive me for that. I'm going to go with the obvious choice. For me, the first and last Kadeema show, full band Kadeema show, is something that truly, truly moved me personally, artistically, emotionally, like anything you can imagine, because it came after a period of time where, back when Jimmy and I were in Ascots, we got comfortable. But not comfortable as in stagnant, but the sort of comfort you get from being very, very well practiced at something. So it's like you're performing acrobatics with a safety net. We always knew what to fall back on, and there was, we would do wild shit as a band. Wild, when I say wild, I mean like we would take chances as artists and as performers, but we always knew where the ground was because we've been doing this for so long, and in this scenario, it was very easy. And then the first show we played as Kadeema, I mean, granted that I'm still playing with Jimmy, so that's like one point of, familiarity, but with you and Chad in the mix and everything, even though we've rehearsed, not so much, but we've rehearsed, a little bit. And at the end of the day, we're all, we're four musicians. We all say 1, 2, 3, and we go. But it was one of the most, I don't remember being that nervous for a show in a really, really, really long time, because we didn't have that safety net. But then, that first note, it was cool because we're hitting the first note and Chad's pad gets stuck. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, of course, the first show, the first note, and the freaking pad gets stuck. I'm like, this is what it is. This is life. This is how this works. You just life just shows you, like, don't stress out. It's gonna go bad. Shit's gonna go bad. Just accept it. Just accept it. You're gonna fail at some point today, and it's all good. And I think that was so helpful that we had like the first 30 seconds into a show we have a technical fail, because it just then kind of took the pressure off. Everything was cool, and then I think for me personally, like just everything clicked. I was like, all right, we got the first fail way before I can even play a wrong note. So then when we just started playing and I was like, oh, what do you know? It sounds good. I feel good. It feels, it's that same familiarity. It's fucking, it's Jimmy who I know and love. It's you guys who I know and love, but haven't played with too much, but we're all musicians. We all do the same thing. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Song starts, song ends. Everybody knows what to do. The rest is just an exchange of energy. So I think second song in, I felt so good. I felt so comfortable. And I think just because I was so nervous before, the payoff was that much bigger. Even though it was the first show, it wasn't like this big giant venue and the stadium and lights and whatever. It just felt amazing. So that's mine. That's the recent one, at least.
All right, Chad's next, and you can't say a first Kadeema show.
Oh, shoot. Well, if I may add to the point of the first Kadeema show, though, it is funny, like you said, Tal, how that was, the first time in a long time that you had been super nervous for a show. I definitely felt that. I mean, I'm sure you guys felt, Jim and Mike, I'm sure you guys felt some sort of nerves kicking in for sure. But I remember talking to my buddy Pete before going on, and he could tell I was like on the inside kind of like falling apart a little bit. You know what I mean? And he's like, dude, like you've done this before. Like what's the problem? You've played so many shows, but yeah, it was definitely that. It was definitely just a combination of like, the setup was different. The lineup was different. And, people I haven't played with for too long up to that point, and it turned out great. And it's continuing to turn out great, right? Something to say about those nerves for sure. But as far as besides that, I mean, obviously that's a recent one. I'd say, being like midway through that set, or literally second song in, like you said, like I felt like where I needed to be. But I gotta say, there was one show, it was with one of my old bands. I talked about my buddy Pete. I was in an old band with him. We were called Magnum Opera. We were a we were a kind of like rock metal, kind of hard rock, heavy metal band. And this was towards the end of that that project. I'm from Windsor, so we had played the Windsor scene quite a bit, and we played this gig at the Backstage. It's like attached to, it's like this big kind of like concert hall. Well, not big, but like it's a well set up concert hall attached to this. This tiny little restaurant in some random residential area. So like not even downtown, completely inconvenient to get to. We were playing with a few other bands, friends of ours that we know and love from the Windsor scene. And we were certain that like nobody was going to come to that show because it was just so out of the way. Even though we did a bunch of pre-sales and stuff, we're like this. I mean, I personally was thinking like, I was getting kind of like nervous. I'm like, worst case scenario, it's just going to be like a gig in front of a few people, and that's fine. I've done that enough, right? Like it's totally fine. But that was like one of the most packed shows we ever had. And having I just remember it being a really, really good night, just hanging out with the bands. And, when we were on stage, everything went perfectly. There was no technical issues. There was no, missed notes, anything like that. And, but that's not to say that the show has to be perfect, shit happens. But I remember that being a really, really tight show. And I remember just feeling that energy from everyone who was there to watch us. And it was just really one of those moments that, I remember walking off of that stage and being like, yeah, this is what I want to be doing. This is what I want to do with my life. And, that not many shows have come too close to that, as far as how I felt that day. And, but I felt right at home, and it really solidified my passion for, this line of work.
And Jimmy?
So I can't say Kadeema first show either, can I?
No, you can say it. Well, how'd you feel about it? Did you feel as nervous as Tal? Like, did you feel it being different?
It was weird. I didn't have nerves to it. I knew it was gonna be different, but like, no, there was nerves. I'm talking shit. It was one of those that, like, yeah, it was nice because I had the familiarity to my right side of Vaisman, and like, it's so long of him being like, let's just play. and it was, I
don't know how in these situations I end up being the nervous one when it's like,
I wasn't as bad for that one as I had been in a while.
I was
like, it was nice. It just felt right. Like, it was a fun situation to be jumping into, and it was like just a shit ton of friends in the Dakota Tavern, and just like having fun, and like family members, and like, just like, let's just do it. Let's just have fun with it and push forward. And I kind of like having to think stuff through when we're playing. And it got to that point, like you said, with Ascots, where it's like, there was so many good moments. There was so many awesome magic moments. Like, looking back to Massey Hall, when we'd look up and you just see like people on the top rows, like having fun and being into your tunes. And you're just like, oh, this is more valuable than money right now. This is cool as fuck. Like, just seeing people getting into it and moving and dancing, and like, it's just surreal. Like, a million different moments of those where it's like, you just see people getting lost into your sound, and then you're just like, okay, that's cool. Like, Dave, who's rich, isn't gonna know what that feels like.
Well, no, that's very fair. It's funny that you guys were so nervous at the first Kadeema show, because I went out before the show with Jimmy and his brother Ben to watch my new favorite team, the Tottenham Hotspurs, and I had a couple pints, and I don't know, like, I might have picked the winning ticket, because I didn't even notice that the pad was broken.
You thought I was just playing that intro note for Extra Long?
I was like,
with Chad?
Yeah, I honestly, I don't think that I recalled. I was pretty loose.
Extended cymbal washing, like, none of that was a concern.
Those guys really know how to draw an intro.
Just go on.
I was like, well, let's milk this. I guess we're milking it, I think I was trying to catch the bartender's eye from the stage, being like, from the other bands, the bar bands I've been playing at, going like, one more, please. We're about to begin, So anyways, no, I kid, but it is fun. And I'll pick a moment. I was going through my head of different wonderful, like, on-stage moments, but the thing that I've been reminded of recently as we have started to rehearse together, and I spoke to the Mono Whales about a similar feeling on the next podcast next week, but that feeling that you get in a rehearsal room where you're with a group and you're practicing, and it's just the core, there's no one else, and you're establishing those routines. And we've been rehearsing now and we didn't do this before our first gig.
No.
We've been going for 5, 6, 7 weeks with concurrent practices, and there's an element to a live band gelling which isn't playing music. And I, over the years, have started to appreciate that as a standalone, the getting together for the rehearsal, the release, and the ability to just kind of find the flow among a bunch of people. And with that in mind, I'll say my favorite memory was filling in on bass for a Toronto pop punk band called Teeter, which my friend Mike Sleeth played in. There was a rehearsal room. It was 12 years ago. So, at that point, bands always smoked inside. So it was smoky, and the drummer was playing without a shirt, and the guitarist and the singer and I guess they had 2 guitar players, but they were bigger dudes. And I had been playing in bands with a lot of females, and it was a lot more mathematical than energy. And they had this thing where they just cranked all the amps that were way too big for the room. And I remember just everyone's kind of moving around, getting all hyped up. And we started playing, and by the 3rd song, I thought my heart was going to beat out of my chest. If they had told me to we're going to go murder somebody right now, I'd be like, all right, let's go. I was so pumped up. And I remember walking out of that rehearsal just being like, oh my gosh, this is part of it that I didn't realize is going to be so much of the release, not just the live shows, but just that energy and getting the room just warming up. And man, I felt like I was part of a football team that was going to go out for a championship match. And yeah, there's just that feeling you could run through a wall. There's that energy is just, I've never found anything that you can do that's comparable to that feeling.
I don't think there is. I mean,
Yeah.
I've done a few things in my life that were pretty, they're pretty intense, and nothing compares. It's just, I think I've always said it's why I don't really have any addiction problems, because you go play a show and it's it gives you all the brain chemicals you could possibly need, especially if you're playing in a rock band. It's therapy, it's physical activity, it's creativeness, it's energy, interaction, family, love. It's all these feelings that are positive for your mental health. They're all there. If you let them come to you when you do it, it's all there. And it really is magical. I mean, so many people have talked about it and explained it, but that's what it is for me. So I agree with you, Mike.
Well, to take us home, and thank you, Tal, but to take us home, I wanted to ask the 3 of you, and again, before we go through these questions, our lightning round, so to speak, again, Kadeema performing this Friday at the Horseshoe. Obviously, there's no one to be in attendance, so check out their Facebook Live. It is at 8 p.m. All the information is at all the Kadeema's socials. I found it on their Instagram and their link tree, so it worked for me. If it worked for me, I'm sure it'll work for you.
It's also free.
And it's free. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's free. So as much as it's going to be exciting for us to be in a live venue for the first time in a very long time, obviously done under the safest protocols, trust me, there are a lot of protocols that'll keep us safe, but we are very, very pumped to do this. I'm starting Jimmy, Chad, and then Tal. What is the Kadeema song you're most excited to play on Friday? Beat Up Car, Chad?
Beat Up Car.
Tal?
Damn it. Now I got to think.
Were you gonna say Beat Up Car?
I was. We have a new song. I'm very excited to play that one. It's a world premiere.
I'm going with Beat Up Car. Honestly, now that we're all saying it. All right, everyone pay attention to that song. You'll notice we got an extra step in our shoes for that bad boy.
We're
Yeah, we're gonna bomb that song so bad.
for this one.
Well, gentlemen, it was lovely to chat with you. I'm excited to see you in the next couple of days. I also recommend to all of you to try your outdoor clothes, your stage show clothes that have been locked deep in the closet. So make sure everything all fits. I'm excited.
I don't think I've worn pants in forever. I mean, I'm in shorts right now. So.
So that is it for us. A special edition of All About the Song to promote Kadeema. I'm Michael McTonnell, Chad Chevailer, Tal Vaisman, Jimmy Chauveau. Did I get that right? Did I say all your names right? Yeah. Sorry, I should have gone in a clockwise order. Episode 127 of All About the Song is in the books. We will see you on Friday. And for All About the Song, we'll see you next week with the Mono Whales. Take care.